1, 2, 3, 4. Good evening. This is VK3EKH, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria with the regular Friday night broadcast, coming to you from the studios of VK3CSJ in Narre Warren South. We're broadcasting on the prime frequency of 3541 kilohertz in the 80 metre amateur radio band, and also transmitting via the Melbourne television repeater VK3RTV, digital channel 1 in full HD, and also on Discord and the stream YouTube, hopefully. We also have an email address, VK3EKH at gmail.com, VK3EKH@gmail.com, and the Discord channel, which will, if you register with Discord, and then type in or search for the Astronomical chat room, ASV's chat room, you'll be able to find the link there. Now, I'm not 100% sure how things are going to work tonight as far as RF getting into things. For 1, 2, 3, 4, just making sure my levels are where they should be. Yeah, right, I'm doing things a little bit differently tonight, but I'm using the mobile connection rather than the VDSL connection on the modem. Not 100% sure if that's really working for me. Anyway, we'll see. I've got a feeling the YouTube stream may be a little bit dodgy, but hopefully Discord stream might be okay, because I'm also running HD on the video side of Discord. So which provides a better sound aspect in respect to the delay. Anyway, also, like I did mention about the email address, vk3ekh@gmail.com. Now, I can see that my YouTube stream is doing something funny, but anyway, let me know if that's doing any good, because I did do tests earlier in the week, and as far as I know, it behaved then, but right now it doesn't want to behave, from what I can tell here, looking at the vMix side of things. Anyway, let's just see how we go. The picture and vision on RTV is spot on, so at least I know the vision side of the repeater is good, as it should be. And yeah, so anyway, I trust everybody is all in good health here on the 12th of July 2024, and getting through these cold days here in the middle of winter. Okay, now I might just I think the audio level is a little bit too high for YouTube. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've just knocked that down a little bit on the vMix side. But I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, just upping the level a little bit there for 80 meters. Hopefully that'll be okay. Hello, 1, 2. That's kicking up to almost 400. So we should be cooking with gas, but I do think the YouTube stream is struggling. So I'm hoping that the HD stream on Discord will behave itself. Looks like it's working from what I can see here, but at the end of the day, it just depends on what you guys are able to see. I can see Brett's there. G'day, Brett. Where am I? Yeah. So hopefully things will be running okay. VK2CBD. All right. That YouTube thing is flicking in front of me there, so it's just saying that it's having problems. I wonder. All right. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. There's a few things tonight. All right. Firstly, for those tuning in for the first time, the Astronomical Society of Victoria, founded in 1922, has well over 1,600 members throughout Victoria and other states of Australia and overseas. Membership of the Society is open to all persons with an interest in astronomy. The Society's objectives are to encourage the study and practice of astronomy and to disseminate the knowledge of the science and to provide greater facilities for the study among its members. Monthly meetings are usually held on the second Wednesday of each month, except in January, the latter being held on a Saturday night. Meetings start at 8 p.m, Mullier Hall, Burwood Avenue, Melbourne, near the Melbourne Observatory, which is located adjacent to the Shrine of Remembrance. Parking is available in Burwood Avenue, Dallas Brooks Drive and the surrounding streets. Admission is free and visitors are most welcome. Privileges of membership include the right to borrow books, periodicals and other publications from the Society's extensive library located at Melbourne Observatory, receipt of the ASV's magazine Crux containing articles, news, observing notes and the like, and the free provision of the Astronomical Yearbook. Access is available to telescopes on members' nights held regularly at the Melbourne Observatory and after the monthly meetings, weather permitting. These instruments include the Society's 300mm equatorial reflector and 300mm portable reflector, the 200mm refractor managed by the Royal Botanic Gardens, and a recently restored photoheliograph are also housed at the observatory and are accessible to members as well. The Society also has a number of 200mm reflectors available for short period loan, so members can try before they buy. Regular Society Club Night meetings are held at the Melbourne Observatory in the Ellery Suite, Burwood Avenue, opposite the Shrine of Remembrance. Members are encouraged to use the Society's instruments located there in order to gain first-hand experience in telescope use. These instruments include a 508mm equatorial reflector and a number of smaller reflectors. Members are also encouraged to make use of the Society's country property located near Heathcote, some 90-minute drive north of Melbourne. There are a range of instruments available for members to use, the larger two only with appropriate training, which range from 300mm to 1000mm in aperture. Also located on site is a fully steerable 8.5 metre radio telescope, which members can access with involvement in the radio astronomy section. Members are encouraged to make and use telescopes. Advice and help on both matters are provided willingly to newcomers desiring to do the same. Instrument making is only one of the number of common interest activities catered for within the Society. Other areas of interest that members can participate in include deep sky observing, astrophotography, lunar and planetary observing, auroral, meteor, comet, radio astronomy, computing, cosmology and astrophysics, historical studies and research and astronomy in general. Contact details for various section directors are provided in the yearbook. Further information may be obtained by visiting the ASV website at www.asv.org.au, and notifications of events are given in the Crux Extra Bulletins, which is a special email publication to members sent out to members every other week. Please note that ASV will conform to all government health directives, thus ASV events may be required to be cancelled, moved or postponed. If you wish to write a letter to the ASV, you can address the letter to the Secretary of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, GPO Box 1059, Melbourne, Victoria 3001. I think the problem with the YouTube stream, actually I'm just noticing, it may very well be I don't have enough bandwidth to cater for Discord and a YouTube stream at the moment at least. I don't think it's an RF issue. I think it's just the stream is having a struggle in getting up to YouTube as such. So in that respect, to give a little bit a bit more to Discord, I may actually stop the YouTube stream because I think that would be struggling. It'll probably be disjointed, slowed down, or some other horrible thing might be happening. I'll just check my email. Okay, we've got an email from Andrew, VK3KIS, who's listening on 80 metres. G'day, Andrew. Good morning. Good evening to you. We say morning. Signal is low tonight, 4/8. Really? Yeah, okay. There's plenty there for me. So, anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll just up that a little bit more there, perhaps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me make sure that 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 should be all right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. It's just annoying me seeing this the YouTube stream playing up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Now, like last week, I had issues with because I had issues with the video side of things running. I think I'm okay today, so I'll just recap a few things in the science notes, which are released by the Science Museum, and just go over that quickly. But before I actually do that, last Wednesday was the monthly meeting, ASV's monthly meeting, held on Wednesday, the 10th of July, and the Astro talk that they had, I did indicate, I think the week before, that it was going to be Alan Duffy was going to do some sort of presentation, but it seems that he couldn't make it. So the presentation that on Wednesday was called "The Future of Space Exploration, Human and Robotic," and it was presented by the section director for space exploration, Kate Green. So in her little rundown here, she says, Kate Green discusses the future of space exploration, human and robotic. The talk will cover the legacy of Mars helicopter Ingenuity, legacy for upcoming robotic missions to explore the planets and moons of the solar system. The Artemis program to return humans to the moon is facing technical obstacles and funding concerns, and the challenges facing NASA as it scraps its original plan to return samples from Mars. Finally, the debate about whether or not we have entered into a new space race generation with advances in China space endeavours. That stream started at 8 o'clock last Wednesday on YouTube, on ASV's YouTube channel, as well as the Facebook stream. That would have been recorded, and if you want to catch up with that particular presentation by Kate, just go to the ASV's YouTube stream, YouTube website, and I'm sure, I haven't double checked, but I'm sure that recording will be available to view. So yes, that was last Wednesday. Okay, now let me just check a few things here. Sky Notes. Let me just check my email again. No. Okay. Okay. Righto, Mr. Brash. Okay, the Sky Notes for July, courtesy of the Planetarium, starts off by saying that it's time for the aphelion again. Aphelion. I think I always trip over that word. It in its elliptical orbit, Earth reaches its annual fullest point from the Sun this month, known as the aphelion. It will be 5 million kilometres more distant than its closest point, which is known as the pre-aphelion, which occurred in January. Okay, that's fine. And then there's a bit of a rundown here of the sunrise times, sunset times. Starting from Thursday the 11th, got been and gone, the sun rose at 7:34 a.m, setting at 5:17. From Sunday the 21st, sunrise will be at 7:29 a.m, setting at 5:24. And then by the end of the month, Wednesday the 31st, sun will rise at 7:21 a.m, setting at 5:32 p.m. So our evenings get a little bit lighter. Days overall get a little bit lighter, although you wouldn't think so with the amount of cloud cover going on around here at the moment. Very depressing with this rain. But anyway, moon phases. There'll be a first quarter on Sunday the 14th, the full moon on Sunday the 21st, and a third quarter on Sunday the 28th. Moon distances: the lunar perigee closest to the Earth is on Wednesday the 24th at 364,817 kilometres. Then the lunar apogee furthest from the Earth is on Friday the 12th, which is today, at 404,362 kilometres. Okay, the planets. Mercury can be seen around 5:40 p.m. in the northwest at its greatest elongation this month, before fading in and setting by 7 p.m. It will appear and set at a little bit later each evening. When Venus is not visible early in the month from Melbourne's latitude, after having passed behind the Sun for its solar conjunction, but it will become the evening star late in the month at dusk from about 5:40 p.m. in the northwest. As far as Earth is concerned, good old Earth, Earth reaches its furthest distance from the Sun on Friday, July 5. Then it will be 5 million kilometres further than its closest, which was last January 3rd. I'm just jumping over all the figures here. Our slightly elliptical orbit principally results from gravitational influence on our large moon. The difference from perihelion to aphelion is noticeable as a 3% change in the Sun's apparent diameter. Now, I do actually have this. I didn't have this last week, but I do have this image. It was featured on Astronomy Picture of the Day, and where are you? I didn't move it across. I spent half an hour making sure that I moved everything across to vMix, and I didn't move this image. So here it is coming up. This is the apparent difference that you see, if you care to notice it. The difference between perihelion and aphelion. And it's noticeable as a 3% change in the Sun's apparent diameter as observed from Earth. And this was photographed on January 9, 2020. So that gives you a bit of an idea of those dramatic distances that the Earth covers on its orbit around the Sun over a year. So. All right, continuing on, Mars continues to be visible rising around 3:20 a.m, moving higher in the northeast before fading in the dawn light by 7 a.m. During the month, it will rise a little earlier each month. Jupiter passed through solar conjunction, but can be observed from 4:45 a.m. in the northeast, after which it will be lost by the 7 a.m. in the early dawn light. As the month progresses, the Jovian giant can be seen a little earlier each morning. Saturn can be seen this month from 11 p.m. in the east. It will move across the north before fading by 7 a.m. in the northwest. By late July, Saturn will rise around 10:30 p.m. Elongations and conjunctions. Let me just go back to camera. For the inner planets, Mercury and Venus, as viewed from Earth, there is an angular separation in our skies between them and the Sun. This is called their elongation, as their opposition is elongated away from the Sun. At the greatest elongation, they appear fullest from the Sun, furthest from the Sun, However, when behind the Sun there is no elongation and they are at the superior conjunction, conjoined with the Sun, when they pass in front of the Sun, that is the inferior conjunction, and as daytime objects they are not visible and are again conjoined with the Sun. Meteors. This month we have no strong meteor showers, but on the 27th to 30th, the southern Delta Acraids should be visible in the constellation of Aquarius, the water bearer, high in the north. The meteors will radiate from near the Delta Aquarii, the fourth brightest star in the constellation. The best time to look is a few hours before dawn, when perhaps 20 meteors per hour could be seen. As far as stars and constellations are concerned for this month, in the west, if we look towards the west, Canis Major and Sirius, which is the brightest of the nighttime stars, is much lower this month in the west. Looking towards the north, high in the north is Virgo and the star Spicer, while Leo in the northwest, recognised by its upside down hook pattern of stars with the star Regulus. The head of Leo also forms a sickle, a pattern known to many peoples around the world. Looking towards the east, Scorpius rises much higher in the southeast, and with the red giant star Antares easily seen, even from areas with city lights. Below and now fully revealed is the Centaur Archer Sagittarius, whose bow and arrow forms the famous asterism, the teapot. Turning to the south, the Southern Cross or Crux is high up directly south, and to the left are the pointers Alpha and Beta Centauri, which mark the front hooves of the other Centaurus, celestial centaur. The billions of distant stars and numerous dark dust clouds of the Milky Way forms a broad band across the evening sky from east to west, which gradually wheels to the south to north as the Earth rotates during the night. From our southern perspective, we enjoy a superior view of the galaxy, quite different to the most northern hemisphere locations. Easy to see in the southwest are the intriguing irregular shaped neighbouring galaxies, the large and small clouds of Magellan, which are special features of our southern sky. Visible are the bright stars Canopus in the southwest and Achernar close to the horizon in the south. The International Space Station orbits every 90 minutes at an average distance of 400 kilometres, appearing like a bright star, moving slowly across the night sky. Here are some brightest passes expected this month over Melbourne and central Victoria. Going by the dates here, that's already been. Morning, there's two morning passes of significance. On the 16th of July, there's a passing at starting at 6:45 a.m. to 6:52 a.m. coming in from the northwest to the southeast. And then Friday the 19th of July, there's a passing at 5:52 9 a.m. starting at 5:59 a.m. and through to 6:02 a.m. coming in from the southwest to the southeast. Heavens Above gives predictions for visible passes of space stations and major satellites, live sky views, and 3D visualizations. Be sure to first enter your location under the configuration. But heavensabove.com is the website to go to if you want to confirm what's happening in the sky and what time, and they also provide sky charts, so you can get a pretty good idea where to look for these objects, celestial objects and/or satellites. Now, what's my time? 10:25 already. Let me just have a quick check of my email. See if there's anything else that's come through. Bruce, yeah, YouTube running well. Really? Bruce VK3BDC says a couple of streams you're running at the moment, getting good picture and sound. Excellent. Unfortunately, the noise floor is much too high on. Okay, fair enough. All right. Okay. Thanks, Bruce. Excellent. Yeah. All right. Well, it's good. I'll keep persevering then. I won't turn off YouTube. Apparently YouTube is doing its thing. About 20 seconds delay though. That's why the Discord is probably the one to go to at the moment. All right. Now let's continue on. Sky Nights, that's right. I was going to mention a few dates here of on the stay dates, which I did mention last week. I'll go through about half of those, I think. On the 1st of July, 1770, closest pass to Earth by any known comet. Closest pass to Earth of any known comet Lexell, at 2.2 million kilometres, roughly 5.5 times the Moon's distance. On the 4th of July, 1054, Chinese and other astronomers witnessed the supernova explosion that produced the Crab Nebula 6,500 light years away. Also on the 4th of July 2005, a deep impact probe by the USA crashes into Comet Tempel 1 to analyse its composition. Also on the 4th of July 1868, birth of Henrietta Swan Leavitt, who established the luminosity period relationship of Cepheid variable stars, allowing Edward Hubble to show nebulae were other galaxies beyond our own. On the 5th of July 1687, Isaac Newton's Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy is published, laying the groundwork for much of modern science. On the 7th of July 1959, Venus' diameter is determined and its atmosphere analysed by its occultation of star Regulus in Leo. On the 8th of July 2011, the Space Shuttle Atlantis is launched on the final mission for the shuttle program. 10th of July 1962, first communications satellite Telstar USA is launched as an experiment in transatlantic communication. On the 11th of July 1979, Skylab 1 USA is destroyed during a re-entry over Western Australia and scatters debris over a wide area. On the 14th of July 1965, Mariner 4 makes the first controlled flyby of Mars and returned the first close-up images of the planet. On the 15th of July 1975, Apollo-Soyuz test project mission occurs. An American Apollo module with 3 astronauts launched with the last Saturn rocket, and a Soviet Soyuz craft with 2 cosmonauts rendezvous and dock in Earth orbit. On the 16th of July 1746, birth of Giuseppe Pazzi, discoverer of the dwarf planet Ceres in the asteroid belt. There's a few more dates here, so I'll just read up a couple of more. Also on the 16th of July 1969, Apollo 11 launches to the moon for the first lunar landing 5 days later. Also on the 16th of July 1994, Jupiter is struck by over 20 fragments of comet Shoemaker-Levy 9, with Earth-based telescopes and Hubble Space Telescope observing the unique event. And it was a unique event, seeing these various objects hit into the upper atmosphere of Jupiter. It was basically my introduction to radio astronomy, because we set up receivers to try and detect those impacts. Both Monash and the Astronomical Society's radio astronomy section, which I just joined at that time, and a few others, including the late Doug MacArthur, VK3UM, all pointed. He pointed his 8.5 meter dish towards Jupiter and recorded impacts as well. It was a very, very exciting time for a lot of people, but it was my introduction to the ASV and the radio astronomy section, which was current at the time. The section director was Lockie Creswell, and we all had a very, very good time. It's a fond memory. All right, 10:31. Let me see, the next thing I was going to talk about. Now, this is actually a lengthy sort of an article, but I think this has got some interest for those that are interested in doing astrophotography like myself. How to take your own wide field sky images. Capture your own deep sky vistas with these simple tips. The author continues to say that he says that I love taking wide field images of the night sky, revealing the hidden depths of a large swath of the heavens in a long exposure photograph. Shows me that space isn't actually empty. It's filled with unfathomably large amounts of gas and dust, and with today's cameras and specialized filters, amateurs can produce stunning views of the heavens that exceed what professional observatories could produce just a few short decades ago. This is especially true in wide field imaging, which has several advantages over more specialized astro-imaging setups, and these include cost, portability, and near immunity to bad seeing, aspects that appeal to beginners and experienced astro-imagers alike. The universe is filled with wondrous sights, and wide field imaging technology can display it all in living colour. And I'll just bring up this first image here they've as part of this article. There we go. Getting back to the article. In fact, reading the text for this image, the summer Milky Way was photographed from a hilltop over the Moordock Plateau in California using a 10 3-minute exposure and a Sigma Art 4mm lens. All photos were taken with the Nikon D750 DSLR, pre-processed in Adobe Bridge and post-processed in Adobe Photoshop. And the credited images by Frank DeBella, who's the author of the article. Getting on with the rest of it. So if you're a beginner to all this, here's a kind of a bit of an idea of the best systems that one can look into for taking pictures, wide field pictures of the sky, night sky. One reason wide field imaging is so compelling is that you don't need a lot of expensive equipment to make great images. A DSLR, digital single lens reflex camera, on an equatorial tracking platform with a wide-angle lens is perfect for a shot of the Milky Way, whether it's solely overhead or framed against a panoramic background such as a mountain range or a desert plain. You can also capture wide-field telescopic views. There are a number of telescope manufacturers who make reflectors refractors with short focal lengths, typically 50mm to 80mm in aperture, with focal ratios ranging from f4.5 to f6. These make efficient lenses for shooting wide-field subjects when paired with a DSLR, mirrorless or CMOS imaging camera with at least an APS-C sized sensor. Mount this gear on a small equatorial mount paired with an off-axis guider or external guide scope, and you'll have yourself a wonderful wide-field imaging system. The author says, my favourite wide-field system uses a 71mm refractor with an APS-C sized CMOS camera on a small equatorial mount. Whether you have a small refractor with a dedicated camera or an equatorial platform with a DSLR, both combinations are highly portable, relatively easy to set up, and can produce stunning images in a single evening under the stars. This is an important aspect to consider if you are like me and must travel to a dark sky site. When you can only spend a single evening in a location, shooting a wide-field subject becomes a perfect goal. And here's another image that's taken. Absolutely fantastic, this image. Beautiful to look at. And the text for this one is that this is a 200mm ASCAR lens, ASKAR, ASCAR lens paired with a Ioptron L Ultimate filter, which passes hydrogen alpha and oxygen plus 1 or plus 2, is it plus 1? Oxygen 2 plus 1 wavelengths, can capture deep sky gems in the Sadar region in Cygnus, like the Crescent Nebula shown here with 20. This image on the screen right now was 24 exposures of 10 minutes each. 24 exposures, 10 minutes each with that setup. Right. So, in all forms of astronomy, our atmosphere dictates what we can and cannot do every night. In addition to the obvious issues like clouds, the atmosphere can also present limits to transparency, i.e. dust, smoke and water vapour, and seeing the turbulence. As far as clouds and transparency go, sadly there is nothing to be done. But seeing, on the other hand, we can do something about. This is where wide field images can perfectly come into play. On nights when seeing is below average, the short focal lengths of wide field imaging systems do very well. These systems may have image scales of 4 to 6 arcseconds per pixel, whereas a more traditional imaging platform may have image scales of 0.5 to 2 arcseconds per pixel. A night of below average seeing, where the atmosphere limits resolution to 4 or 5 arcseconds, will sideline the traditional imaging system, but a wide field system with an image scale larger than the seeing resolution will not be affected. This immunity from below average seeing is perhaps the biggest benefit of all. One of my favourite wide field imaging systems consists of my astro-modified Nikon D750 mounted on an equatorial tracking platform. This is perfect for shooting wide vistas of the Milky Way and celestial visitors like bright comets. It is highly portable and it fits into a backpack. I have used this system a number of times when circumstances dictated a hike to the best spot for a photo. One example was when I captured the summer Milky Way from a hilltop over the Modoc Plateau in northeastern California. For this wide field shot, I used my Nikon D750 with a Sigma Art 14mm lens on an AstroTrack equatorial tracking platform. Another photo location requiring a bit of a hike was the image I took of Comet C/2020 Neowise. This was shot with a Nikon D750 and a Rokinon 24mm lens carried on a Vixen Polari equatorial tracking platform. Being highly portable is one of the great advantages of wide field system, and that Comet image is here. This one is what he's talking about. There it is. So the next thing he says, the sky is your oyster. Constellations are also excellent wide field targets. Orion is a marvellous candidate because there are several objects within its boundaries to surprise you. This area is rich with ionized hydrogen. Just reading something else here. Yep. He says, I added a 12 nanometer clip-in hydrogen alpha filter to my Nikon specifically to capture all of the Barnard's loop shapeless 276. There's some reference there, as well as the famous Orion Nebula M42, the Horsehead Nebula. With Sigma Art 85mm lens on an equatorial platform, he says I took 5-minute hydrogen alpha exposures and 3-minute RGB exposures, which I think just trying to make it here. Here's just the image he's referring to at the moment. This bloke. Okay, so that image there is Barnard's Loop, what's referred to as Barnard's Loop, and the Orion Nebula. The author captured 8 4-minute exposures in RGB plus 8 6-minute exposures in hydrogen alpha using a hydrogen alpha filter. Going back to the article. Another favourite wide field system of mine consists of using an ASCAR 200mm f4 Astro lens paired with his Nikon camera D750 and an Opto-Long L Ultimate filter, which passes hydrogen alpha and the oxygen 2 plus wavelengths. For this setup, he says, I use a small equatorial mount for guiding and imaging. During the summertime around June, the constellation Cygnus is perfectly positioned to take wide field shots of its various sections. And one highlight is the Sadar region in Cygnus. The region features rich nebulosity as well as objects such as the Crescent Nebula NGC 6888, the blue-coloured shock wave from the Wolf-Rayet star known as WR134, and the Tulip Nebula. A lot of these are actually northern sky objects, but I think we get the gist of what he's doing here. There's another image here, wild field image he's captured. This one here. And that one there is a wide field of images that can still prevail when the weather presents challenges, because you can see the cloud covers in this particular image, but it's an image of Orion the Hunter rising over the California's Mount Whitney image ranges. So yes, so from time to time, nature will intervene and do its best to mess up a wide field session. He says, one moment you will be setting up your system for a perfect shot, the next you'll see multiple clouds magically appear. This very scenario occurred on a trip I took to photograph the winter Milky Way setting over California Mount Whitney, which is the image on the screen right now. He says, I set up my equipment at sunset and waited patiently for the dark, but then the clouds started forming. It was clear that soon there would be no Milky Way to see, much less photograph. but when you're shooting a wide field shot, you have the flexibility to improvise. He says, as you can see in the photo above on the screen right now, he says, I may not have captured the Milky Way, but still captured a beautiful photo of the constellation of Orion setting over the peak, with the clouds as an integral part of the picture. And finally, he says, it's difficult to pin down a precise definition for wide field on a night sky, but for me, the author, he says a wide field image is one that encompasses a minimum area of approximately 4 square degrees, of about 8 full moons side by side. An image of this scale will perfectly frame the North American nebula NGC 7000 and its companion, the Pelican Nebula, in a field rich with glowing clouds of hydrogen. When your field becomes extremely wide, you find yourself in a realm of nightscapes, images of the night sky that may also include terrestrial vistas like Orion and the winter Milky Way setting over Mount Whitney in California. Yeah, so that's just a bit of a rundown there. So when you want to start doing wide field photography, these are the sorts of images that you can capture. Like this last image that he's got here in this article. This is combining the Nikon D750 DSLR with the Stellarvue SVQ100 astrograph. I'm not 100% sure what that is. The wispy streams of the Vela complex were photographed stunningly with 12 5-minute exposures. I mean, that's all it requires to get that sort of image. It's something in the order of 12 5-minute exposures. Hopefully, no clouds go wafting across the image. But then in the processing of this image, the programs that you use to analyze, what they do is they analyze the best images, and they what they do is they stack the best images to produce ultimately produce an image like this on the screen right now. So it's pretty magnificent. I really, for me, I can't wait to get into astrophotography. I've just got to get my observatory up and running. It's the main thing. It's getting there, I suppose. All right, you're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel. And I'm just trying to find my camera. There it is. And I suppose if I could always do this little thing, a little announcement that I've got from Ralph, if I can just find it quickly. Somewhere in here. Yeah, it's just in here, this one here. Let's see if this works.
You're tuned to VK3EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast coming to you from the studios of VK3CSJ in Narre Warren South.
Thank you, Earl. So nice and professional. Now, oh yes. Now, I actually hadn't heard of this fellow, but I thought I'd mention it as something of interest. A famed celestial map maker, Will Tryon, has died. Tryon. The Dutch celestial cartographer created 2 landmark star atlases and contributed charts to many popular volumes. Dutch celestial cartographer Will Tryon, who created 2 landmark star atlases used worldwide by amateur astronomers, died July 5. He was 81 years old. And there's a picture here of, well, if I can just find it now, there it is. The article continues on to say that Will's most popular work was the Sky Atlas 2000. first published in 1981 by the Sky Publishing Corporation, Cambridge University Press, contained 26 pages of maps that displayed stars and as faint as magnitude 6.5. It came in several versions, including one with laminated pages that was a favourite of observers who lived in humid climates. The second edition, which appeared in 1998, added 43,000 stars down to magnitude 8.5, 7 close-up charts of crowded areas, and came in 3 options. The deluxe version had laminated pages and black stars on white background. The field version had white stars on a black background, and the desk version had black stars on a white background. Once the first edition of Sky Atlas 2000 appeared, Will Tryon found himself besieged with requests to create charts for other publications. So in 1983 he began to do it full time. His second atlas, co-authored by Barry Rapport and George Levi, was called the Uranometria 2000, Volume 1, the Northern Hemisphere, published in 1987 by Willem Bell. Tryon created the star charts for this 300-page book. It displayed all the stars brighter than magnitude 9.5 plus some 10,000 deep sky objects. The follow-up volume, Uranometria 2000 Volume 2, the Southern Hemisphere, which charted stars below the celestial equator, appeared the following year. In 2001, Willem Bell published a new version of Volume 2. This 338-page work contained 280,000 stars and more than 30,000 deep sky objects. Will Tryon also contributed star charts to Bright Star Atlas 2000 with Brian Skiff, Collins Night Sky, and yes, in 1993, the International Astronomical Union honoured Tryon by designating minor planet 1931 UE as 4648 Tryon, and he is survived by his wife Cookie and 2 children, Martin and Nara. So yes, now I've never heard of him, this fellow, but obviously if you're into studying the sky and have lots of star charts and books on where the stars are, you might have known this fellow. But yes, he passed away sadly on the 5th of July. So I thought I'd just throw that one in. Next on the list here. Okay. Courtesy of Science Alert, NASA thinks that this radical Mars rocket could revolutionise space travel. And it's kind of an artist's impression here, so I'll just bring up that. And there's one without all the what's coming out of it, so it goes a bit like that, like that, like that. That's all the images I've got here. NASA has invested $725,000 in a new rocket system that could solve one of the major obstacles standing in our way of sending humans to Mars, the travel time. With current technology, a round trip to the Red Planet could take almost 2 years. For astronauts, spending that much time in spaceflight comes with a big health risk. They'd be exposed to high levels of solar and cosmic radiation, the harmful effects of zero gravity, and the long period of isolation. Space radiation is arguably the biggest threat. Astronauts who spend just 6 months in space are exposed to roughly the same amount of radiation at 1,000 chest X-rays, and this puts them at risk for cancer, nervous system damage, bone loss, and heart disease, according to NASA. The best way to reduce radiation exposure and other harmful health effects is to shorten the length of the trip. Troy Howe, president of the Howe Industries, told Business Insider. That's why he's teamed up with NASA to develop a pulsed plasma rocket, a PPR, a new rocket system that could shorten a round trip to Mars to just 2 months. This technology holds the potential to revolutionize space exploration, NASA wrote in a statement, and could one day take humans even further than Mars. The PPR is a propulsion system that uses pulses of superheated plasma to generate a lot of thrust very efficiently, and it's currently in phase 2 of development under the fund by the NASA Innovative Advanced Concepts, or NIAC program. This phase 2 study is scheduled to begin this month and is focused on optimizing the engine design, performing proof of concept experiments, and designing the PPR powered SHIELD spaceship for human mission to Mars. The big advantage of the PPR is that it can make spacecraft go really fast. It has both a high thrust and high specific impulse. Specific impulse is how quickly a rocket engine generates thrust, and thrust is the force that moves the spacecraft along. The PPR generates 10,000 newtons of thrust at a specific impulse of 5,000 seconds. That means a PPR-equipped spacecraft carrying 4 to 6 passengers could travel roughly 100,000 miles per hour. A spacecraft flying that fast would eventually have to slow down to reach its destination. Howe said that the company has accounted for the additional energy and propellant that this would require to land on Mars. Even after phase 2 is complete, it will still be about a couple of decades before the PPR is ready to blast astronauts off to the red planet. But once it's available for spaceflight, Howe hopes that this technology will significantly expand the range of human space exploration, perhaps even adding missions to Pluto one day. You can partly achieve anything you want in the solar system once we get this technology running in 20 years, he said. So, well, I can only hope that things like that move along pretty quickly, because I think that would be of some advantage over what we've got currently. All right, coming up to 11 o'clock. I think I've only got one more here. Now this is interesting. This is not exactly new news, but it seems that it's hit the various media outlets again. And there's an image here to show as well. I'll go with this one first, I think. All right. It seems that Earth's rotating inner core is starting to slow down, and it could alter the length of our day. A new study confirms that Earth's inner core has been rotating more slowly than usual since 2010. This mysterious backtracking could also end up slightly altering the planet's overall rotation, lengthening our days. The heart of our planet has been spinning unusually slowly for the past 14 years, new research confirms, and if this mysterious trend continues, it could potentially lengthen Earth's days, though the effects would likely be imperceptible to us. Earth's inner core is roughly a moon-sized chunk of solid iron and nickel that lies more than 3,000 miles or 4,800 kilometers below our feet. It is surrounded by the outer core, a superhot layer of molten metals similar to those in the inner core, which is surrounded by a more solid sea of molten rock known as the mantle, and the crust. Although the entire planet rotates, the inner core can spin at a slightly different speed as the mantle and the crust due to its viscosity of the outer core. Since scientists started mapping Earth's inner layers with detailed seismic activity records around 40 years ago, the inner core has rotated slightly faster than the mantle in the crust. But in a new study published June 12 in the journal Nature, researchers found that since 2010, the inner core has been slowing down and is now rotating a bit more slowly than our planet's outer layers. The author says, "When I first saw the seismograms that hinted at this change, I was stumped." This is John Vidal, a seismologist at the University of Southern California. He says, but when we found 24 more observations signaling the same pattern, the result was inescapable. If the inner core's rotation continues to decelerate, its gravitational pull could eventually cause the outer layers of our planet to spin a little more slowly, altering the length of our days, the researchers wrote. However, any potential change would be on the order of thousandths of a second, which would be very hard to notice, Fidelity said. As a result, we would likely to not have to change our clocks and calendars or to adjust for this difference, especially if there were only a temporary change. This is not the first time scientists have suggested that the Earth's inner core is slowing down. This phenomenon, known as backtracking, has been debated for around a decade, but has been very hard to prove. In the new study, researchers analysed data from more than 100 repeating earthquakes, seismic events that occur repeatedly at the same location along tectonic plate boundary in the South Sandwich Islands in the South Atlantic Ocean between 1991 and 2023. Each earthquake allowed scientists to map the core's position relative to the mantle, and by comparing these arrangements, the team was able to see how the inner core's rotation rate changed over time. The new study is the most convincing evidence so far that backtracking has been happening, Vidal said. It is currently unclear why the inner core is backtracking, but it is likely caused by either the tuning of the liquid iron outer core that surrounds it, or the gravitational tugs from the dense regions of the overlying rocky mantle, the researchers wrote. It is also unclear how frequent backtracking is. It is possible that the inner core's spin is constantly accelerating and deaccelerating, but these changes likely happen over decades or longer. Therefore, longer data sets are needed to infer anything about long-term trends. The inner core remains one of the most mysterious of Earth's hidden layers, but in recent years, new technologies are allowing researchers to learn more about the inner core, including that it is slightly lopsided, and that it is softer than expected. That it potentially wobbles off Earth's axis, and that it has a separate innermost core. The study authors will continue to analyse seismic data to learn more about the heart of our planet and how it changes over time. The dance of the inner core might be even more lively than we know, Vidal said. So I thought that I would end on that one. So that was mentioned to me just a few days ago, so I thought I'd follow up on that. Some interest. All right, now let's go into space weather. Let me see, spaceweather.com. Solar wind. The solar wind is currently at 351.9 kilometres a second at a density of 2.67 protons per cubic centimetre. The disk of the sun currently looks like this, if we're able to look at it. There are several sunspots on the disk of the sun. From what I can see, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think 9 sunspots there. The current sunspot number is 188. The The radio sun, measured at a wavelength of 10.7 centimetres, the radio flux, solar flux unit, is 205. I don't think I've ever seen it that high. 205 is the current solar flux, radio solar flux. And there's not much to look at as far as auroral activity over the poles. This is the image I collected about an hour ago. So even though there's always an auroral glow present over the poles, at the moment it's a very faint one, so not much in the way of auroras being seen anywhere of any significance. The current KP index, the planetary K index, is 2. KP is equal to 2, which is considered quiet. The 24-hour max KP figure is 2.33, which is also considered quiet. I've also got an image of the coronal hole. There's a coronal hole coming into view. There it is there. The solar wind flowing from this small coronal hole could graze Earth on Julys 13 and 14, causing minor geomagnetic unrest. Spaceweather.com says there is a geomagnetic storm watch, a G1. NOAA forecasters say that minor G1 class geomagnetic storms are possible on July 13 and 14, when a stream of solar wind is expected to hit Earth's magnetic field. The gaseous material is flowing from a northern hole in the Sun's atmosphere, which you can see on the screen as I speak. Spaceweather.com also reports on a superstorm triggered a mass migration of satellites. Earth just experienced the biggest mass migration of satellites in history. On May 10, 2024, approximately 5,000 spacecraft had to maneuver to maintain altitude, resisting a geomagnetic storm that was trying to pull them down. The event is described in a research paper just accepted by the Journal of Spacecraft and Rockets. And there's a graph here that they show, and I'll bring up that graph. It's 2,000 size big. What did it do that for? Let me just go back. Yeah, some reason that completely changed its perspective. Let me see if I can fix that in some fashion. Alright, I think I fixed it. Let's go back. Yeah, alright. I've kind of zoomed out, but that's it. That's what the article is referring to. In this image here, this graph, black number of maneuvering satellites, blue the intensity of the storm. Most were SpaceX Starlink satellites, says William Parker of MIT, the paper's lead author. Each satellite has a GNSS receiver as well as an autonomous station-keeping and collision avoidance capabilities. When they sensed the effects of the storm, thousands of satellites made the decision to maneuver. They needed to migrate upward, was caused by a sudden increase in satellite drag. Earth's atmosphere absorbed a huge amount of energy from the solar storm, causing it to puff up like a marshmallow held over a campfire. Trendles of heated air reached into space and started dragging the satellites down. The superstorm peak power was 2.63 terawatts, says Martin Malancic, who retired from NASA's Langley Research Center a month after the storm. Sounds a bit funny, isn't it? Before he left, however, he used infrared data from NASA's timed spacecraft to estimate the amount of thermal energy dumped into the upper atmosphere. It deposited enough energy to run my house for 10 million years. He says I average about 510 kilowatts per month. Earth's atmosphere has been heated this much before. Earth's atmosphere excuse me, Earth's atmosphere has been heated this much before, most recently during the Halloween storms of 2003. In those years, however, the satellite population was relatively low, fewer than 1,000. And in another graph on this article, this one, no, not that one, this one, it's interesting to note that the May 2024 geomagnetic storm was the first major storm to occur during a new paradigm in lower Earth orbit satellite operations dominated by commercial small satellites, the authors wrote in their paper. Thanks mainly to the advent of Starlink in 2019, Earth now has almost 10,000 active satellites in 10 times the number in 2003, when a fraction of them unexpectedly decided to change course all at once. Satellite operators must scramble to track them, making sure that they don't collide. These creates a new and unprecedented risk for all satellites, even ones that don't move. It's a problem that will only get worse in the years ahead. Major storms are more likely throughout 2024-25 during the peak of the solar cycle 25. So this graph on the screen here illustrates that the various launches of SpaceX and other launches of satellites seem to have occurred around solar maxima. For some reason, they just decided to launch at those times. You can tell that by the red dot on the bottom of this chart here. Anyway, that's spaceweather.com. You can read that for more information. Okay, just for my camera, and there it is. Do I have anything else here? The solar cycle. Yeah, just for those that are watching, I'll just present the current chart for our solar cycle. Here it is. Yep. Okay. So again, I didn't show this last week because of all the video problems I was having. But it looks like my video has hung in there. The YouTube stream is quite solid now. It's not fluctuating like it was in the beginning. And I suspect that the Discord HD stream has also hung in there. And look at that, we have a few people watching the HD stream. Brett, VK2CBD, Graham, VK3GL, and David, VK3KDM, have all tuned in to the HD stream on Discord. Welcome, guys. I'm glad you tuned in because, like I say, it's the better one compared to YouTube. There's virtually no delay if you're listening to me on 80 meters. Okay, so I think that about ties it up at 11:12. Yep, I think that's about it. So, yes, going from Sky Notes to how to take pictures of the sky, to the death of Will Tryon, to building a special rocket. Oh dear. Anyway, that's about all right. And of course, the interesting one about the Earth's inner core slowing down. Yes, very interesting. I'm still waiting to see what will happen if the magnetic poles swap. Apparently, it's overdue. Okay, so on that note, this is VK3EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, and I shall now turn towards the transceiver here and pen and paper, and if there's anybody wishing to come up, and just want to try and make sure that's unmuted, and to come up for a quick callback, that'll be fantastic. This is VK3. Oops, I'll take out the headphones. Oh, feedbacks. Oh. Just taking off the headphones. I've been wearing headphones right through the hour. I completely forgot that I was doing that. This is VK3EKH listening on 3541.
VK3GL. VK3STX. This is VK3KRS.
All right. VK3GL, VK3SBX, VK3KIS. Any other stations? No worries, VK5WA. All right. Oh, I've been wearing headphones for over an hour and I've just taken them off. God, that feels funny. Graham, VK3GL, VK3EKH.
Yes, good evening there, Clint. VK3EKH, VK3GL in a cold and wet bunyip, or what has been a fairly wet bunyip. And a very good evening to everyone else who's checked in this evening. And a very good signal on 80 metres tonight, Clint. And I will compliment you on the way that you've got your audio set up. I don't know necessarily whether or not you've altered anything, but tonight the broadcast here on 80 metres sounded absolutely wonderful. Audio was beautiful and everything you presented sounded really nice. So the way you've got it set up, leave it that way. Don't touch it. It's good. Okay, on the comments on the various articles that you presented tonight, I did miss some of them. I've been pretty busy at work this evening, so I did miss some of the articles that were presented, but I did see the picture of some of the pictures that you showed there of I can't remember exactly what it was there, but it was that coloured picture that you had up on the screen, which I find that sort of photography absolutely remarkable, to think that that's actually out up in the sky and someone's able to capture it. So I do hope that you're able to do that once you get your observatory up and running in the future. And if you are able to see some of that sort of thing, I'd love to come around one night and just have a look and see what you're able to see. I also remember the time when you were listening to the signals from Jupiter and you were doing all that charting and all that sort of stuff. I remember the time when you were playing around all of that. That was at your old place there in Dandenong West, and you were setting things up to try and pick up some of the signals that were coming off of Jupiter at that time, and wondering whether or not you were going to get anything. And sure enough, you did. You had stuff recorded there on your chart recorder. And of course, these days you're doing it in a lot better style, of course, but back then it was sort of glue a few things together and hope it was going to work, but it did. Anyway, all the best there, Clint. Thanks very much for the broadcast tonight. Been most interesting with the bits and pieces that I heard. And we'll catch up with you at some stage soon. VK3EKH, VK3GL Bunyip.
Yeah, no worries, Graham. VK3GL in Bunyip, VK3EKH returning. Very good. Thank you for the report. And yes, tonight was a bit experimental because I'm not. I've disabled the modem, the VDSL connection in the modem. So the modem, my connection to the internet is purely via the mobile LTE radio bands. I'm not using any of the cable, but my bandwidth is a bit restricted. So every now and then the YouTube stream fluctuates. But if I wasn't running Discord, it'd probably be okay. But because I'm running HD on Discord as well as YouTube, it's just, it's on the edge there. But it seems to be successful. I'm running up to 400 watts, and I look at the modem, and the modem's behaving perfectly well. There's none of the green LEDs have gone out. So it's been successful as far as that's concerned. So I'm pleased. Okay, I'll take note of the audio settings. Oh dear, thanks, Rome. Across to you there, Steve. VK3SBX, VK3EKH.
VK3EKH, this is VK3STX. Yeah, hi, Clint. Yeah, everything went well today. I was just watching the YouTube, which worked flawlessly as far as I could see. So, no problem there at all. Yes, there was a usual array of interesting articles. That pulse plasma thing, that's what we need, isn't it? I mean, taking, months and months and months to get to Mars and getting, irradiated along the way, they're just not going to cut it, is it? Let alone an actual longer journey. And even that course, 100,000 kilometres per hour, I think they said really it's pretty slow actually, isn't it? We need a couple of order of magnitude faster than that eventually. Oh well, never mind. Yes, and the Earth's core is slowing down. Pretty interesting. I don't know what effect that's going to have. I'm not sure if that's related to the reversal of the magnetic field, as you say, is expected, or if that's another thing. And Starlink satellites seem to survive. Yeah, that's a shame. A pity a few of them couldn't have dropped out of the sky. Never mind. Yes. Anyway, everything's sort of normal here. I've combined a couple of activities at the moment, by the way, Clint. I'm making myself some cross-Yagi antennas for satellite, and hoping to talk to the ISS or one of the other satellites. And I was just trying to figure out how I was going to actually do a rotator in Elton azimuth to actually point at these things, automate the whole thing. And I got out my advanced VX mount today, the Celestial mount, which I sort of retired when I got a bigger and better one. And I reckon I can probably use that mount to mount the Yagis on. And I'll have to write a bit of software to drive it differently. But I think so I combined a couple of activities, and that might be a fun project. Anyway, thanks for the broadcast, Clint, and we'll see you again next week, no doubt. VK3EKH, this is VK3SPX.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I've got a couple of black cats on the bench here. My one's just dropped down, and one Sam wants to take a drink out of my glass. Sam, off the mat. He's on the mixer here. If I suddenly disappear, it's because he's done something. Hang on, let me get him. Oh, come here, Sam. Oh. This is a scrumptious black cat, this one here, for those watching TV. It's a nice little fluffy one. So this is Sam, and he wants to get into everything and explore everything. Beautiful little black puss. So get down. Right, now, excellent stuff. I look at those images tonight, and as Graham was saying, yes, there's no reason why I can't develop similar images once I've got the telescope set up and the appropriate camera employed. I'm looking forward to being able to not only take wide field view, although being inside the 3 metre dome I might be a bit restricted, but certainly shots like this one here of the Milky Way, that's it's looking back towards the centre of our universe there, more or less, of our galaxy, I should say. But shots like that should be possible, and certainly looking forward to being able to take these images. But yeah, there's hundreds of objects in the sky that are just amazing to photograph, and I'm seeing images every day on Facebook. There are a group of optical amateur astronomers that have got a green thumb to taking pictures of the sky. Some of these blokes will actually go up to the dark sky location and spend quite a few hours in capturing data on a regular basis to get the best possible images. So part of the process of astrophotography is collecting the images, the data, and then it's these amazing programs that are able to analyze every single image that gets taken. And I don't. It's some sort of algorithm that works, but it looks for the best picture quality somehow, and then it just from there it just develops this amazing image. I can't wait to explore how that all works. It really is quite stunning stuff. All right, thanks, Steve. Again, give me another couple of months, and I'll start reporting on mounts and equatorial mounts, telescopes, and how it's all working. So, but at least I hope so. Anyway, all right. But thanks for the report on the YouTube working on. I'm glad YouTube was behaving itself. I'll check it out later and see if it's working. I don't think Discord records. I'm not sure if you've got the option to do it, but I don't think Discord records, unlike YouTube. People can come back and watch later or whatever. All right, Andrew, VK3KIS. Good evening, VK3EKH.
VK3EKH, hope you're keeping warm and well. I've been watching the video and seeing the kitty cats getting in there and giving you a hand with checking the equipment and so on. They give their approval. The YouTube seems to have held you out this evening, so all good stuff there. But I have noticed your signal strength was down to about net 5 earlier, so I hope you're able to copy me okay at this time. But I think it was Steve who was talking about rotators and writing code. If you look up K3NG, the website has Radio Artisan is another criteria they use, and they have a open forum on how to build a antenna controller. So it can be as sophisticated or as simple as you want it. Runs on the Arduino. So if you look that up, that'll be give you some ideas on coding and that. And I have used it and it works well. On the computer side, I've used PST Rotator. I bought my subscription, not prescription, subscription for that. Anyway, back to you, Clint, VK3EKH, VK3KIS.
Yep, no worries, Andrew. VK3KIS, VK3EKH, and hopefully Steve has got some of that information there. All right, not a problem at all. Yes, you're about to 10 over 9 here, not too far above the noise floor, but we're hearing you reasonably well. I think the band's a little bit weaker tonight compared to last week. I think it was a bit better, so never mind. But anyway, thanks, Andrew, for calling in. I haven't checked my chat room yet either. I'm sure there's a bunch of people in the chat room as well, so I should check that out in a minute. Dallas, VK5 Whiskey Alpha. How's the signal across to you tonight, VK3EKH?
Not bad now. It's a bit variable, but quite good at the moment. When I got here a bit late and I couldn't really hear it very well. And after having the tuning, but it's slowly got better, so I'm not quite sure why or what. But got the YouTube going, and then quite understand Discord. I don't know whether I'm on Discord or YouTube on the phone, so still trying to figure that one out. So I thought I'd better not upset the cart by having my microphone muted or unmuted. I can't figure out what's going on slightly. So at least the YouTube's going, and I got you going on there. So yeah, very good. All right, thanks again. And everybody else has heard well here in Adelaide. VK5 Whiskey Alpha.
Sorry, I am saying I've just realised that I've had no audio. Oh my God. All right. And that would have been going nowhere. So, all right. I forgot to wind up my audio. Humblest apologies, and I think that's why my mobile phone was ringing. My mobile phone is way over there. I should have got up and answered it, I suppose, but I thought I was on air. So, yes, this is the whole problem about having a mixer in front of you. You just got to be across everything. So, anyway, I was thanking everybody who's come on Discord. That's what I was just doing. So from Kim VK5 FUSC, from Brett VK2CBD, from David VK3KDM, and Steve VK3SPX with a great picture that he couldn't resist putting up. That's what I was trying to say. He couldn't resist it, but he still did it. A beautiful picture of Orion. I wonder if I can quickly bring that across. Let me see. Copy image. Yeah. Copy image. Where? Or maybe I should save image. Save image. Oh, here we go. So if I dump it into my Friday night file, which is that one there, and then go to vmix. Give me 5 seconds, maybe a bit longer than that, but I can just bring that across. This is an image taken by Steve, VK3SPX, of the Orion, and is that it? I think that's it. There it is. This is a result of amateur astrophotography, and yep, that's it. So it's taken locally here in Victoria, and it is a magnificent image. So that when you look up at the Orion constellation of Orion, and you look at the handle of the asterism, the pot, that this little nebulosity exists in the handle region, and it's a well photographed area of the sky, because a lot of things exist in this image, and you can zoom in on it and find a lot of other details too. So I'm really looking forward to exploring that part of the sky myself too. Very good, Steve. Excellent image indeed. So very, very pleased to have that. All right. So like I say, I was just thanking everybody for joining in on the... He says, you're not transmitting. Yeah, you're right. Dear. Anyway, yeah. All right. I think on that note, I'll just take one more listen to see if there's anybody else. VK3 EKH listening if for any other stations.
VK3 BSF.
Go ahead, VK3 BSF. I know you're the local lad. Mental relapse on your name.
Yeah, it's Peter Clint. How are you? I just popped in and no audio. I was watching something on the telly, but so I didn't hear your full broadcast, but just popped in to say hi. Back to you, VK3 EK something, VK3 BSF.
That's all right. VK3 BSF, VK3 EKH, and yeah, g'day, Peter. I knew that. Yep, no worries. Well, I'm just about to finish up. So we've been going since the 10 o'clock again. Look at that, it's 11:36. So, but we had some very interesting little articles tonight. And last week I was struggling to keep the internet connected, but tonight I'm experimenting with using the modem in the mobile mode. So electronically I've disconnected the VDSL line, and the modem is switched to the mobile side of things, and I'm running via the local cell tower. So it seems to be holding in okay. So I'm very pleased about that. Anyway, thanks for calling in. If there's no other stations, we shall conclude transmissions tonight. Looks like VK3RTV is also held in beautifully well. The image I'm seeing coming back from the repeater is up to its usual standards, and all looking very good. So we shall say cheers to everybody. Everybody stay nice and warm. We're coming into some more colder weather in the next few days, all coming up from Antarctica. And a little bit more rain too. So it really is very wintry here at this part of the world. So you've been listening to VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast. Thank you everybody for listening to tonight's session. And if you've missed anything, of course, you can recap on the YouTube feed. As soon as I stop streaming, there will be a recording of tonight's session available, including all the callbacks as well. So cheers everybody, take care. This is VK3 EKH concluding on 3541. Right, okay, well that won't be on YouTube, but anyway, yep, my fault entirely. All right. On that note, to all the viewers, don't get a break. So to all the viewers, I shall say a very pleasant evening to you. Thanks for watching on Discord and on YouTube. And we'll be back next Friday to do it all again. And we'll be doing the WI broadcast Sunday morning on 9 o'clock on 1825 kilohertz at 9 o'clock. And because the version of the WI broadcast is the video version, which is done by Bevan, VK5 Baker Delta, I'll be running that. That's what I play over 160. And the video, I'll run the video on Discord. So if for those that are local and can hear my 160 meter AM transmission nice and loud and clear, if you tune into the Discord stream, you'll be able to see the video running alongside the 160 meter transmission. So I thought I'd do that for the fun of it. And then in an hour's time, I'll be rebroadcasting again on Melbourne Television Repeater at 10:30. That's Sunday morning coming up. And then repeating it again at 8 o'clock in the evening. So, on that note, this is VK3 EKH, ACA VK3 CSJ on the microphone, concluding for tonight. And thank you for watching and listening. Cheers for now.